been a fair while since we last got a lot of Miraculous news, isn't it? Season 5 finished up about a year and a half ago at this point, and after the Paris special and recycling episode, we were left out in the cold for over a year until we got the most recent London special a couple of months ago. I feel like in the off-season, the fandom sort of went to sleep. Fair enough as well. The ending of Season 5 was not well received, and with not much news or fresh content, eventually there was very little to discuss other than touching on the same old talking points over and over again. Happens with most franchises eventually, especially when an arc's concluded, and you only have one end scene to base theories on. That's why the London special was so exciting. It brought new content to the forefront and breathed some new life into the fandom. The quality was pretty high, and there was a lot of hype suddenly after a solid year of salt on social media. You'd be forgiven for assuming that with the release of the special on Disney Channel, that they'd follow up on it relatively quickly and strike while the iron was hot, so to speak. I mean, no matter what, the season's gonna do really well in terms of viewership. That's just a reality, isn't it? Pretty sure they're in the midst of their most profitable years. It's not gonna crash and burn. Still though, you'd think they'd want to keep up the momentum, right? Apparently not, as I think this was back in November that it was announced that we wouldn't be getting Season 6 until 2025. That pretty much sucks, didn't it? I'm sure there's some sort of business reason as to why all this was, but as a fan, it was pretty annoying, and very much killed my hype at the very least, to go from an all-timer of a world special that would directly lead into a new season with a lot of momentum, to having just nothing at all. And for a time, pure radio silence. That's just an unpleasant memory now though, as recently there's been a whole bunch of leaks and fresh news about Season 6. Posts getting deleted and various clips from not even the first episode getting posted all over Twitter and YouTube. Seems that the release date is right on our doorstep. So today I'm going to try and cover some of that news. I'm not going to really talk about the leaks beyond some things that look like trailers. Otherwise, I'm sure all sorts of legal ramifications could be set upon me, and I don't really like tempting fate. Don't want my channel to get nuked or anything. I know it's a bit boring, but I'll do my best. I suppose I'd better start with the release date then, shall I? I found an article that said we're going to be getting Season 6 starting on January 25th of this year. Very exciting. I'd initially seen some screenshots of some post shared by, I don't know, Disney Channel USA or something like that on Instagram, with like a note screenshot that said Miraculous Season 6 starting on that date, amongst other news. It says in the article the post ended up getting deleted, so who can really say? I suppose it's the start date, but I haven't seen any other sources, and we all know how flaky and unpredictable the Miraculous schedule can be. This might end up being a bit of a nothing burger, they may push it back or something. Hopefully not, but I'm keeping my hype at bay. I don't want to get too excited and then it's some rerun of Stormy Weather 2 or some crap. Even so, I think I'll take this one at face value and accept that this is the general release window for Season 6, so around 20 days away. Under 3 weeks. We've been waiting on all of this for so long, and if you've kept up with my videos recently, you'll know that I'm actually feeling really optimistic about the current creative direction. So suffice to say, I think it's going to be a pretty big year for the show. 2024 was the off-season for the most part outside the London special. We got a little bit of news here and there and some content, but this year's primed for far more than that. I assume we're going to be getting the bulk of the season. If it's starting in January and the runtimes of the show, even with dodgy releases, tend to last around a year, that lines up pretty well. It would be nice if we got it in chronological order, but as we've already seen from some of the trailers so far, apparently that won't be the case. You can always hope, but considering leaks have already begun once more, I think it might be a bit too much to ask of the show. I suppose I'd better jump into some trailers then and break stuff down. I know there's been a scene floating around attached to the end of one of the trailers that I think people are keen for me to see, so I'll get started there. I realise no time has now passed for you in the video, but honestly, I need to quickly vent about how if you're not on top of this stuff as soon as it comes out, I've been having a bit of a Christmas holiday, YouTube just becomes an endless plethora of re-uploads, and I'm sifting through fan-made trailers with leaked scenes that I'm unsure if they were in the official trailers or not, and slowly I'm becoming more and more panicked. I think I found it now, but that was a stressful period. Anyway, onto the trailer. I'll be real with you. Some scenes are repeats of stuff I already covered previously, so I'll quickly touch on those and dive more deeply into new stuff. We open briefly with a flashback to the end of Season 5. There's a repeated scene of the Adrian Marinette kiss, just reminding everybody they're a couple at this point, and a scene where Suhan asks Marinette about the butterfly Miraculous. Basically, an establishing scene of the current season. We lost the butterfly, never mind, we'll all be ready, all that jazz. Then we get into the haunting chill of Marinette's manic laughter as some Chloe/Zoe lookalike walks into a locker room where Marinette appears to be pretending to be an Akumatose villain. She calls herself Supinator. I don't even know what this means, I might just be mishearing it. Anyway, she's definitely not Marinette, and she hates dirt and all things unclean, so she's gonna scrub the floor! Seems legit. Ugh. Would it be Miraculous without me cowering in cringe at least every episode? I don't think so. The deadpan, confused look on this girl's face is priceless, by the way. Like, she's not actually stupid enough to believe this blatant lie, and yet cannot fathom a way to react to this nonsense. It's like if a real-world person met Marinette for the first time. For once, the character isn't like, oh, it's just that quirky Marinette. Good start, I think. Next, we come to the clip I've seen floating around for quite a while and really wanted to talk about. This is our first look at an akumatization scene conducted by Lila. We have a character who seems to be this girl's running coach, but also seems like her mum, sitting down, alone, and looking pretty defeated. An outline of a masked person approaches her and starts speaking to her, massaging her shoulders, whispering into her ears condolences and understanding. She apologizes for intruding into her mind, but offers her the opportunity to make all her problems go away. She doesn't force the powers upon her, but manipulates her so well that it's obvious she'd want to choose this path. The idea of someone sympathizing with you and offering to help you with special powers at your weakest and most vulnerable is so clever, and I can't wait to see the real-world consequences of this different Hawkmoth. The previous one caught you off guard and pretty much took control of you against your will. There was no real arguing as to who the bad guy was. But with Ladybug, Cat Noir and her team of heroes taking away opportunities for things to become better in people's lives, well, I don't think the public are going to love that. A much more divisive society, especially after the London special where it was obvious not all the truth was laid out, is very exciting. Sets up a lot of fun plot points. Also, I like the inconspicuousness of the new Hawkmoth. We know it's Lila, but her voice changes from feminine to masculine back and forth. She has no real look, and is really just a figment of a person. It's in her MO to be unpredictable and hide her identity, and it's so intriguing. I'm just very hyped from this scene alone. This is spliced up with some other scenes. We get a look at a scene we saw previously with Marinette spying on some girl running with Adrian. She talks about the fact that he must be hiding something, and then sees them both. Alia then speculates that she's feeling jealous, to which Marinette denies it. The whiplash of her learning her lesson only for her to become completely blind to her behaviour is actually very funny. Yes, I realise she's a 15-year-old girl, of course she's going to be jealous if her boyfriend's off running with some girl she doesn't know. I actually found this very reasonable, but it's also genuinely classic Miraculous. You love to see it! We then get another look at her mum/coach pleading with Bob Roth that Sublime had won the gold in the 100 and 400 metre regional para-athletics. He disses these accomplishments and says no matter how symbolic it is, it's worth nothing from a monetary perspective. It seems as though she wants him to stay on or come onto their team as a representative for her daughter. That's what I'm getting from all of this, but he's unimpressed, he doesn't want to invest. Look, I get this guy is meant to be an asshole. I don't like him at all, but here he's making a fair point. Most runners and other sports competitors don't actually make all that much money. Yeah, the real good ones get sponsorships, but those are few and far between compared to the many others that win medals, but don't really make it big beyond that. It's not like it's a big team sport league or tennis. There's just not much attention on track sports as there is for others, and as such, I don't think there's as much money in it by far. Watching this guy for the past 5 seasons, we're well aware that if he can't make it rich off you immediately, forget about it. They could definitely find someone else, but not this man. Better off, honestly. Also, can we just talk about the fact that her daughter has supposedly been named Sublime? Ugh. Your kid is not an adjective. Can you give her a real name? Talk about pressure as well. You have to be great in your specific field. It was probably what she used to do, and now she expects her daughter to follow suit. Lady, you're not a victim here. Your poor daughter is. All I can think of is that scene from the Barbie movie where she asks out Ken, and now I'm hoping this movie exists within the Miraculous universe, so this kid can tell her mum she's never going to speak to her ever again because all the kids at school are trolling her yelling, Sublime! Would serve her right. Another scene pops up with Tomoe flexing her wealth with owning either some high-rise apartment or more probably a huge mansion overlooking the Eiffel Tower. She stares out the window, despite being unable to see, and seems to be the epitome of not knowing what to do with all the money you have. Marinette starts ranting over some cutscenes with Adrian and this girl talking, with a full-on analysis over her whereabouts and everything she does with him. We're talking proper paparazzi photographs and crime board with string type of crazy. The only possible explanation is that she must be in love with Adrian. Oh, Lord give me strength. Even Alia's patting her on the head with this look on her face like, when will this end? She suffered a full year of this level of insanity, and now it's gotten worse. Jealousy amongst teenagers, very normal. Hiding in the bushes, taking photos of them and using binoculars to scope them out? Not so much. Time to drag her to therapy, methinks. We get some proper dance mum antics with Sublime's mum presumably ranting about doing anything to achieve her goals because she's her champion. I'm telling you what, I wasn't expecting it, but the manager guy pulled the right move, honestly. Bob Roth, you're a hero here. I know he actually wouldn't care about parents taking advantage of their kids at all, but still, a win for him. I get the feeling with this akumatization that the mum's going to make it so her daughter no longer has her prosthetic legs. Whew, what a terrible outcome. That her being who she is isn't going to be the best version of herself in her mum's eyes. Ouch. We then see her akumatized outfit, which is basically a running suit. So yeah, I definitely see her living through her kid. And then she says something about letting someone surpass their fears so they can carry on with their mission. Kind of an odd thing to say to somebody who's just trying to run a little bit faster. Wouldn't call that a mission. So I think this is probably not directed at her daughter, but maybe at somebody else. Ladybug uses her yo-yo, I presume, to alert Cat Noir to join her. Seems it now functions as an alert device that will let other users know she needs them. It's pretty cool. Makes a lot of sense. Kind of similar to the movie where the Miraculous users know that one of the other users have transformed. Flag complains about snack time whilst Adrian says they've got to help Ladybug instead. I've seen this scene from a trailer before and I've always kind of wondered. It looks like he's rising in an elevator, but it doesn't look like he's walked out of one. He can't have risen from the basement under the house because Ladybug destroyed it and the background looks different enough, and so I'm just confused. Where's he coming from? We see Sublimation get hit right in her mask and something flies out. I would assume an Akuma, but she hasn't de-transformed, so I'm not all that sure. It's also fast. I don't even know how Ladybug or Cat Noir could hit her there. Probably with some sort of lucky charm, but it's still unclear. Cat Noir seems to get hit by her power and gets sublimed, or whatever, so I suppose he'll start becoming obsessed with horses and the patriarchy. But it should be interesting. If he's the best version of himself, wouldn't that be a detriment to the villain? Because he could just take her down so fast. I'm curious as to see what happens here. Marinette transforms from her horrid handmade akumatized villain costume into Ladybug, and man, is this the best she could do? Isn't she some aspiring fashion designer? I figured she could put something together a bit better than this. Maybe it was a last minute attempt, but if it wasn't, not the best start to her career. There's a bunch of quick shots that flash past. The girl unleashes a mane of hair, a repeat of Cat Noir looking at his new transformed self, which just dilutes the black suit to grey, Ladybug sneaking around and then battling Sublimation, Marinette hiding presumably in a locker room where she pretended to be an akumatized villain, the girl running for the manager, someone skidding along the hallways at their school, the girl running again, Marinette hiding again, the girl talking to herself that she'll be ready, that no one can stop her, especially not you, as she talks to her reflection in the mirror. Whew. Seems more than one kid needs therapy in this episode. We then get Marinette anime eyes as the trailer abruptly finishes. Pretty intense, but I'm excited, genuinely excited. It's got a bit of everything. Feels very season 1 and 2, basic monster of the week, with some more expansion of the world and setting up the new villain that has a more mature vibe. Honestly, what's not to like? I know a lot of people are going to be complaining about Marinette's actions and how she hasn't learned anything, yada yada yada. I literally did this myself. That being said though, I think there's more likely going to be a lesson learned from it. A lot of the time, the stalker vibes were so she could actually achieve a goal, and she's had a lot of support from her friends in order to confess her love to Adrian. Now that that's happened, and she's actually in a relationship with him, there's going to be more of an analysis of her behaviour and why she feels the need to do that. At least, that's what I'm hoping for. Apart from that trailer and the release date, that's all the news I guess I can really talk about. I won't watch the episode till it's fully released, and then I'll talk about it in depth. Until then, let's be cautiously optimistic and hope the episode releases this month. I have a feeling this season's going to be really good. With all that being said though, these have just been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the trailer? Are you excited for season 6? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.